Today I'm going to share with you the most common mistakes that roofers make. Welcome everybody, thank you so much for joining me today. So today's video is really important because it basically gives an insight to you, the homeowner, on what to look out for when you're hiring a roofer. Basically, good roofers versus bad roofers. So let's get into it. First one, the number one common mistake that roofers make is they actually reuse flashing. Yep. Okay, so let's talk about that. So what kind of flashing are there? Drip edge is one, reusing step flashing, reusing chimney flashing, reusing pipe flashing, literally all of them. Okay, so just so you know, building code states that any flashing that is either damaged or rusted cannot be reused. So the point I'm trying to make is that once a flashing is installed, you should already automatically assume that that's it, it's damaged. So you cannot reuse it. I'll give you an example. So in order to install flashing, you actually need to put nails into the flashing. And when a roofer tears off those shingles, well, they're gonna be pulling out those nails. And let's be real, roofers are not surgeons on that roof. You know, it's a really hard job to tear up a roof. And of course, in the process of tearing everything up, flashings do get damaged. So the chances of flashing getting damaged while a roof is being torn up is very, 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 very high. It just needs to be assumed that the flashings are gonna be damaged and they need to be replaced, not reused. Okay, so the second one is layovers. So literally putting a layer of shingles on top of another layer of shingles. And this is what is called layover. And believe it or not, it's actually a common practice. Not a good practice, but it's common. Now, this is really important. The manufacturer actually has the right to refuse your warranty if there are any layovers on your shingles. So in fact, this practice voids manufacturers' warranties. And obviously that's a big issue. What makes it even bigger of an issue is the fact that building codes, believe it or not, actually allow this practice. It actually states that it can allow up to 2 layers on a roof. However, you have this contrast, right? Because then you have the building codes that saying, hey, it's okay to do this, but then on the other side, the manufacturers are gonna say, nope, we will not approve the warranty. So without a doubt, 100%, it's so important to literally tear off the original materials and replace them with brand new ones. You do not wanna hire a roofer who does layovers because clearly you're gonna end up with a problem. So the next one, roofers will take a shingle, flip it over, flip it around, and basically use it as a starter strip. Now, a starter strip is a piece of material with a sealant that gets installed around the entire perimeter of the home. It's what the first course of shingles actually bond and seal to. So if they actually use a shingle, flip it upside down and turn it around, the point is this shingle is not made or designed for that purpose. So as you know, if you use something that is not specifically designed for that purpose, more often than not, it's not gonna work. So this is the same case with roofers who reuse the shingle as a starter strip. It's just not gonna work. The next one is a similar thing. So roofers will take a shingle and reuse it for a ridge cap. Once again, it's not designed for that purpose. It's not designed to go there. It's designed to be a shingle, not a ridge cap. But roofers still do it. So why do they do it? Well, they actually do all these things to really cut costs. Materials cost, and of course, by reusing these materials, it makes the whole process much cheaper. But of course, you want all the parts and pieces to be used for their specific purpose. Okay, so the next one is the tear off process. So basically what I mean by this is that they tear off the shingles, but there is an underlayment, whether it's felt paper or synthetic. And basically what happens is that the roofers will not replace the underlayment. They will literally just go right on top with another set of shingles. So part of the roof replacement and slash repair is that you really need to see what's underneath that underlayment. You need to see the decking, the plywood or the OSB. You have to see the condition of the decking. If you can't see it, well then there's a problem. Basically, if there are rotten pieces of the decking, you won't be able to see it unless you take off that underlayment. So what ends up happening is that you're putting another roof on top of rotten plywood, which clearly is a big problem. So the next one, a very common mistake that a lot of roofers make is that they do not make any changes to the ventilation. You know, actually that's probably the number one thing. 9 out of 10 times you need to adjust the ventilation on your roof. So having a good ventilation system in your roof will ultimately expand the lifespan of your roof. It allows your roof to live longer, so it's super, super important. I highly recommend you hop onto our YouTube channel and take a look at our video on ventilation because it'll give you a little bit more information about this topic. But essentially what it does is that it regulates the temperature in your attic. And what you want in that attic is the temperature to be 10 degrees of the outside temperature. And what that basically tells you is that there is constant air exchange. There is air flowing into the attic and there is air flowing out. So when you have that consistent air exchange, you have cooling in the attic. So ultimately what you want is for the shingles to stay cool or to be the same temperature as outside. So if it's 100 degrees outside, it's gonna stay within that range. If it's 80 degrees outside, it's gonna stay within that range. But what does happen if you do not have adequate ventilation? Well, basically your attic becomes literally an oven. So it could be 100 degrees outside, but inside your attic is way above that. So basically the temperature of the shingles dramatically goes up. And then of course you're gonna have all these issues like high granule loss, delamination. I mean, all sorts of issues that can come up with overheating shingles. Oh, and by the way, the number one reason why a manufacturer's warranty can be denied, well, guess what? It's improper ventilation. So think about it. You just had a roof installed and a year later you're having all these issues and you have really high granule loss. Well, here's the thing, the manufacturer can say, well, hey, listen, you don't have proper ventilation and this is why you have this problem. So we are actually not required to do anything. We reserve the right not to cover this, even though the roof is only 1 year old. I mean, you gotta remember that the average cost to replace a roof is between $24,000, $25,000, $26,000. So pretty much you just wasted that money. All because a roofer did not make sure that you had proper ventilation on your roof. So another thing is an inaccurate assessment on the lifespan of the roof. Okay, so what do I mean by that? Realtors, real estate agents often call roofers to come out and assess a roof. They may have an offer on the house and they need the roof to be checked. Basically, they want to check if there are any issues and how much life is left on that roof. But basically, the life that is left on the roof is really up to interpretation. And oftentimes we see that it's either not enough time or, of course, too much time. So what I mean by that, a contractor goes out, evaluates the roof. They find issues, but then they say, hey, listen, this roof is gonna last 1 more year. Or if you don't fix that issue, then this roof needs to be replaced. And never mind whether you fix the issue or not, you're still gonna have to replace the roof within a year. Or we've seen cases where they say, yeah, the roof has 10 years, but there are all these smaller issues that kind of need to be addressed. And oh boy, it's a recipe for disaster. The point here is that I'm trying to make is that homeowners really need to find a roofer that is competent, that knows and understands what the issue is, and basically make sense of what's going on the roof. One thing that will really help you with that is the roofer, a certified contractor. But not only that, are they certified by a manufacturer? What that simply means is that the manufacturer stands behind that contractor. They have done their due diligence on the competency level, basically meaning that they know and certify that these contractors will do everything right and will install everything correctly. Also, does the contractor know the building codes? Do they take care of their clients? You know what I mean? All this kind of stuff. You just want to make sure that when you hire the contractor to assess a roof, that they are a great contractor. You want them obviously just to make the right call. And basically, you don't just want to hire somebody who just started roofing like yesterday. So the final common mistake that roofers make is that they make an inaccurate call on wind or hail damage. So hail, of course, happens mostly in the Midwest, but it can happen also in other areas. Storm comes through and damages thousands of homes, thousands of roofs, and we go and meet with a client and they're like, hey, you know what? We actually had a roofer come down like 2 days ago and they said that we don't need to file a claim. Sometimes it's just better to get a couple of opinions. Think about it like your health. If you have some sort of health issue that could be serious, you probably want to get more than one opinion from different doctors, right? So you got to think of it the same way with your roof. One of the things that you really want a roofer to do is to do a digital analysis of your roof. You want them basically to take photos and videos of your roof, show you what the damage is, show you what the problem is on video and on a picture. At the end of the day, it doesn't hurt you to get more than one opinion, because if your neighbor's roof is damaged, then there's a high chance that yours is too. So I hope this video was helpful. The truth of the matter is that unfortunately not everybody follows building codes, and sometimes people do cut corners. And in fact, some of the things that I mentioned before are actually a lot more common than not. When you hire a contractor, you want to ask them specific questions and you want to keep an eye out for all the things that basically I mentioned before. So you can ask them questions like, when you install the starter strip, how do you do that? You can literally ask them, do you use a shingle or do you use an actual starter strip? What do you do when you tear off a roof? Do you tear off the underlayment or do you just leave it? Do you replace the flashings? Or do you reuse the flashings? Oh, and don't forget to ask them about the ventilation system. What do you do? Do you upgrade it? Do you check it? Do you fix it? What do you do? So for instance, if a contractor says to you, yeah, we actually do layovers, so we put multiple layers of shingles, then well, that's gonna kind of tell you what kind of contractor you're hiring. So be smart about your decision now that you're informed, of course, and choose a contractor who does things properly. That's it for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this video was informational, especially when it comes to choosing a contractor. If you would like us to come and assess your roof or solar, you can click the description box below, or of course you can go to our website. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel. And that's it, really. Have a good day.